What's up, Average Dad fans? Welcome back to another video, and this is the brand new iPhone 16 Pro Max. Yes, I'm aware not many of you care, but I have my first impressions and I want to tell you all about them. Let's go! So yes, let's talk about the elephant in the room. The new launch of an iPhone is not exciting these days. We all know that, particularly us as Android lovers and in particular foldable phone lovers. But iPhone still have a lot of skin in the game. They are the biggest selling phones year on year globally. We have to accept that. We also have to accept in some areas iPhone lead the way. And I want to talk about my first impressions of this device while interjecting some areas where iPhone is still the king. Now, something that hasn't been talked about at great detail by a lot of reviewers is the upgrade in screen size. This is not just a small upgrade. This is the largest screen on an iPhone ever, with the thinnest bezels on an iPhone ever, and the sharpest resolution, and the brightest panel. There's a lot going on with the display, and even when you compare it to just last year's 15 Pro Max, it's a massive upgrade. Here you can see them side by side. This isn't small. 6.9 inches with thinner bezels beats 6.7 inches with thicker bezels every day of the week. And being someone with an eye condition, someone who has really large text, as you can see here, I appreciate more real estate. And first impressions of using this panel, like every other iPhone, it's just smooth. From the camera interface to the general OS, everything is just smooth. And in consuming content, in HDR, just looks good. So yeah, first impressions, and one of the top features and changes has to be the screen, and I'm really enjoying it so far. Now, in terms of other design aspects, it's an iPhone. It looks like the 12, 13, 14, 15 and now 16 Pro Max. That hasn't changed. Yes, the size is slightly taller, slightly wider, and it's using titanium again, which, by the way, I'm glad they used titanium, but if you're going to introduce new colours on the iPhone 16 standard, maybe think about introducing something a bit more vibrant on the Pro versions. We want to see more than just greys and blacks and gold. Calling this desert titanium is odd. This is the gold iPhone from years ago, folks. That's all it is. So there's nothing groundbreaking or earth-shattering or any reason you should upgrade if it's purely based on just design other than the display. But something I do want to talk about is the cameras. And my first impressions using the cameras here, as you can see, a different setting. I'm in Helsinki for a bit of a vacation. And the photos and videos do what iPhone do. And that's be reliable. You can take a quick snap using any of the 3 rear lenses, safe in the knowledge that it's going to be right first time. The colours will be there. It'll be in focus. Everything just works straight out the box. However, this year with the camera, you've got more photographic styles, you've got way more functionality when it comes to exposure and brightness and saturation and ISO. Everything you want to change, you can change to your heart's content if you're a pro user. And you still get the raw photos, you still get the log photos if you want to do proper color editing in Final Cut Pro or whatever software app you use. Honestly, folks, I'm not one of those guys. I'll pick a photographic style, which to me is just the natural one, and I'll probably stick with that. However, as mentioned, if you do want to tweak, you can go ahead and tweak to your heart's content. The one thing I would say about the camera as a whole, though, is, yes, not many people will use this, but the camera control button on the side that's been added, it's free. So why bash Apple for it? And when I say it's free, they were always going to charge you £1,200 for the latest iPhone 12. See, I just said 12. They were always going to charge you £1,200 for the iPhone 16 Pro Max variant. So if they're going to add some extra hardware features and a button, I know they're not calling it a button, but folks, it's a button, then just take it and be happy. Now, have I used it all that often? No. But do I see scenarios where some people will use the button, particularly if you're used to coming from maybe a Sony Xperia and you're used to having a shutter button? I can see it coming in handy. And because it's iPhone, because it's Apple, the software just works really, really well. You can use it to zoom, you can use it to change your ISO as mentioned, your aperture. There's lots of things that you can do within the camera control button, which I haven't got round to, but some people will. And I'd rather have something I won't use than not have something I would use. Now, before I go a bit more in detail with the software, I do just want to shout out that the speakers on iPhones have always been top tier. The fact that this is slightly bigger of a body means there's slightly more area for sound to echo around, to reverberate, and the speakers on us just sound like Class A, top tier. Have a listen.
Just to find somewhere that finally feels like home. Oh, oh, oh. I hate all this overthinking. Oh, 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 oh. The more I swim, the more I'm sinking. Take me to a world of silver. No more heartbreaks, tears, painkillers. Take me somewhere unfamiliar. Bring me back to where we started out. Get me out of now. To where we started out.
And now I want to talk about battery, and I can give you my full, honest battery opinions already because I've used this on one charge. Yes, since unboxing this device a couple of days ago, I got it on Thursday afternoon. I then left for Helsinki on Friday morning at 3 a.m. UK time. Took it off the charger at 3 a.m. UK time. It is now 3 p.m. UK time on this Saturday. So that's a full 36 hours later, and the phone literally just died after 36 hours of use. Now, that wasn't 36 hours screen on time, but it was at least 10 or 11 using GPS for maps, using media content like YouTube, Spotify podcasts, all the photos and videos that I've interjected at points in this video and B-roll. This all came off a single charge. I used it for the scooter app that I used to get around Helsinki. Really handy. Vol, I think it's called. If you're ever in Helsinki or one of the major European cities, download one of their e-scooter apps. Very handy. Not a sponsor. The point being, the phone has been constantly in use through WhatsApp, many WhatsApps and emails, responding to people, leaving voice notes when it comes to the average dad text store, just all of that stuff. And it did eventually die after 36 hours. One thing an iPhone will never give you is battery anxiety after a day. You know that your iPhone is going to last a day. And the fact that they've increased the battery capacity, they've also increased the charging speeds to 45 watts, which a lot of people have not spoke about. The iPhone now charges at 45 watts, which I know, coming from owning or owned over 100 Android flagship phones, I know we get 120 watt, 200 watt charging on some devices. But 45 for Apple, it's almost double what you used to get. I'm happy with that. And of course there's wireless charging on deck. 15 watts from a normal wireless charger, or if you've got the Qi 2 MagSafe compatible wireless charger, 25 watts. Again, double what you were getting wirelessly, almost double what you were getting wirelessly previously. The iPhone 16 Pro Max was never going to be a groundbreaking upgrade from the iPhone 15 Pro Max. That's not Apple's business model. But in every area, from camera to battery to hardware to software, everything's just got slightly better and smoother. And I just want to finish off to touch on software. Again, a lot of people have been saying that Apple Intelligence isn't out yet. How can Apple sell a phone when it's half-baked? folks, listen, I'll call out Apple as much as the next person if they do something wrong. But please, be honest with yourself. Have Samsung, Vivo, Honor, Huawei, have they never released a phone without it being fully ready? Of course they have. That's just what tech companies do. And yes, Apple have put a lot of stock into Apple Intelligence. But Siri's okay. iOS 18 is great. Apple Intelligence will also be great. So just hold on. Have some patience. I'm sure it'll work seamlessly. Now, I am still an Android user, obviously. I'm the average dad. I have a tech store that only sells Android devices. But it is sometimes refreshing to switch my SIM card into an iPhone for a while, other than the ball ache stuff of having to transfer all your WhatsApps and go back to Google and go back to iCloud and iPhotos rather than Google Photos and Safari and Apple Maps. Good Lord, Apple Maps, you've still got a long way to go. But it's different. It's nice to be different and try something new. I will be back to Android within a week because the Huawei Mate X-T will be here. But it is refreshing. So if you are an iPhone user and you have 12 Pro Max, based on my first impressions, 16 Pro Max would be a very significant upgrade. If you're an Android user and you've got maybe an S22 Ultra and you're not sure whether to upgrade to the S24 Ultra or the iPhone, why not try an iPhone for a change? Totally up to you, but I can tell you, based on my first impressions, I'm impressed. Colour me impressed. So, I know a bit of a break from the usual foldable phone stuff, but tech reviewer, full time, have to do these things. I'll be back soon with more content on the iPhone 16 Pro Max versus the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL. I'll also do a bit more of a deep dive into that camera control and the whole camera setup as a whole with the iPhone 16 Pro Max because, again, as you've seen, the photos and videos are really fantastic. And then it's a big one. The unboxing, potentially live unboxing of the Huawei Mate X-T, the world's first tri-folding foldable phone. If that sounds interesting, smash subscribe. If you've liked this little iPhone interjection in a world full of Android phones, smash like. And until next time.